Well, I just watched episode 4 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Wow. It was amazing. I have been saying from the beginning that I've been liking the ambiance and the tone of the show and the characters, but it's been kind of slow and a bit meandering these first 3 episodes. This is the episode I've been waiting for. Every scene hit like a truck. Every line hit. Everything was just kind of perfectly crafted to achieve the result they wanted. It's my favorite episode so far by a mile. It just was so fun to watch. I felt so pulled in. Like I leaning forward. It was awesome. Really fun. So last episode, Dunk kicked and punched a prince to protect that puppetry girl. And they arrested him. While he's in prison, he gets visited by Egg, and they have this fabulous scene where Egg says sorry for, deceiving him and that, he's actually a prince. But the way that scene is done is perfect. Just Dunk's anger and Egg's fear of grief, of what he perceives as their relationship loss. Everything about it was just great. Very, very gripping relationship. And then the next scene is him with his uncle, the heir to the throne. I think that guy's the heir to the throne. He's clearly the hand of the king. But in any case, the guy is refreshingly reasonable for a authority figure and is like, has a good read on the situation. But of course, his nephew, not Egg, the one that Dunk punched, wants his head, and the guy is basically telling him, you should do a trial by combat to protect yourself if you're a good enough knight to do so. Because he clearly doesn't want Dunk to be punished for doing something that was, he would have done himself. Dunk then has a scene with all of the Targaryens and demands trial by combat, and Aerion Brightflame refuses to do that, and instead invokes the Right of the Seven, which is a version of trial by combat where 7 champions fight 7 other champions in a melee. We have never seen it before in the show. It is mentioned in the books, in the Game of Thrones books, but regardless, we've never seen a trial by 7 kind of ever. So that's exciting. Of course, this is done to screw Dunk over because Dunk doesn't really know anyone to ask to fight Targaryens on his behalf. But he goes looking anyway, and he goes to that Fossaway friend of his who goes to his cousin that was super aggressive in the first episode, but then promises to help him. And it's a great scene, which makes his betrayal at the end of the episode all the sweeter and more surprising, because it is a good scene of he successfully makes the audience feel like he legitimately is going to help him. And then when he betrays him, it's like, oh, you bastard. It's great. It's great. Love that. But Egg quietly actually helps him by getting a bunch of people together to fight on his behalf. It's unclear if those people know who Egg is, or if they are just seeing him as Dunk's squire. Unclear, but he successfully gets a bunch of disparate people together to help him, including the fun Baratheon guy. That I knew was going to happen. I was so happy. So that's great. The other help he receives is from the blacksmith, who makes him his armor. That was such a moving scene. Just powerful. This guy, for basically nothing, makes him a new shield, and the shield is painted by the puppeteer. The symbolism of that cannot be more overt, but there's a beauty to the gesture, but also to Dunk's reaction. There's something beautiful in a gift given in the language of the receiver. This is one such gift, right? It's something that he understands deeply, and it's so moving where, the blacksmith uses the symbolism of the shield to give him courage. And I don't know, it's so simple, but it worked so well. so well. I loved it. You felt those emotions with Dunk. It was great. It's great. Anyway, he gets suited up, and he's with all the people that agreed to fight on his behalf. Their number is 5. They need 7. And they're like, oh, we have 6 because we have the Fossaway cousin. And then, of course, the Fossaway cousin betrays him and is fighting on Arian Brightflame's side. So they really do have 5. And the cousin, who's, pretty weak, but extremely pissed off at the betrayal of his older cousin, demands to be knighted right there so that he can join and be their 6th. Like, he talks to Dunk and tells Dunk to do it, and Dunk hesitates, probably because, and I don't know if this show is ever going to make that overt, but it is heavily implied that Dunk never actually was knighted by the knight that trained him. And so he feels uncomfortable knighting him because it would make him not a knight. Like, any knight can make another knight, but he's, by the strictest rules, potentially not a knight. So he hesitates, and the cool Baratheon guy does it instead. And we have him do the Westerosi knighting ceremony while, like, cool knight shots happen. The way it's structured and the way those scenes are stitched together are just super effective. But even with that guy being knighted, there's still 6. And they need to be 7 or they forfeit and he loses automatically. So Dunk does a speech to try to convince people to help, and it's very earnest and refreshingly heroic. Like, Game of Thrones is known for, subverting traditional chivalry, and it still does that. But in this moment, it's very sincere in a moving way, where he's just trying to convince someone to help him because everyone knows he was just trying to protect an innocent girl. And he's like, are any of you real knights? It's great. It's great. They do a fake out with a fart, which is the type of humor that this show is going for. So it's not too surprising, but it does a false depression, sort of resets audience expectations. And then after that, the heir to the throne comes up and decides to be the 7th. It's a great moment, beautifully done, and it's framed as him responding to the chivalric arguments of Dunk, though I'd argue that it's just politically almost sensible to do it this way, because if Dunk dies here, he very easily could have become a martyr. Like, the whole of Targaryen might goes down on this simple hedge knight that was defending a innocent girl. That's a story that can run wild, So changing the framing of it, of Targaryens on either side of the conflict, showing that it's not the royal house versus a hedge knight, but the royal house fighting each other, in some sense makes political sense. I'm not sure they're going that way, but I that's how I read that. I don't know. But it is hilarious that, like, with Dunk Squire being a Targaryen and Baelor, there's like 2 Targaryens on his side and then 3 Targaryens on the other side. It's yeah, dragon versus dragon conflict. But it's great. And now it ends right there, and you're so excited to see this trial by 7, which is 7 on 7. I really liked it, and I liked the structure of the episode, the pacing of it, the push and pull with his relationship with Egg, where, he somewhat forgives Egg and them getting back together in an emotional sense, and them finding allies, and them entreating for that, and just with the number 7 being thrown around a lot, it actually reminds me of the structure of the Seven Samurai movie, of having an issue that a common man has and then entreating a bunch of warriors, 7 warriors, to defend him, almost invokes that Seven Samurai making a stand out of chivalric duty story. Like, it almost reminds me of that, which is a good comparison. And a positive comparison for me, because that movie is fantastic. I'm so excited. Like, it just works so well. Every scene like every line just built upon themselves for that moment, and it worked really, really effectively. And it was only a half hour. All these episodes have been very short, and you really feel it in like the first two episodes. They feel kind of short. This, not a single moment feels wasted. It just, they are moving and moving and moving and building and building. I just love the structure of it. I love the performances are great. Like, Dunk looks so terrified and befuddled and frustrated and so small despite being so tall, you know, or it just, the performance works so well, and Egg is fantastic. It's great. All the characters just work so well. I'm so excited for episode 5. But what did you think of episode 4 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to see my review of the 5th one, do subscribe. Also, I have a book, Diary of a Sentient Sword. I release a chapter for free every week. Find it in the link below. Happy reading. Take care.